All right, guys. Welcome. You guys know me as Lame Hillbilly. I'm a mod in the Discord for SnowyOwl. A lot of people from the Ask Me Anythings have been asking a ton. Hey, will you make a video? Hey, will you make some educational resources? And of course, I wanted to do that because one, I love SnowyOwl. Two, I think that educated, confident investors make this project. And then the more exposure that we can bring to the project, the better we'll all be. So I just wanted to make a quick video kind of recapping ToonFork 101s. And I'm going to do that as best I can. Again, I am no YouTuber, so I'm kind of just working it out myself. But I'll try and go through it and splice it up in a way that everybody can understand it. So again, I'm Lame Hillbilly. And my ties are to SnowyOwl, but this will apply to any ToonFork that you have. So first off, we need to explain what exactly a ToonFork is. There's a bunch of crazy words and stuff that you could use, but really all it is a game theory farm, and it is taking a peg token and trying to get it pegged or around the same price as the token that its goal is. So for SnowyOwl in this case, the peg token is Snow, and we are trying to peg, which is a soft peg, which means we don't have to be at that, but that is what the protocol is working towards. And we're trying to peg towards Joe. The meme is that Joe is always a stable coin. It stays right around 1, and today is no different. But that is kind of the main goal behind the entire theory of ToonForks. You can overcomplicate it, put a bunch of big words in it. That's all we're trying to do. We're trying to take Snow, and we're trying to get it as close to the price of Joe as we can. And we do this through a couple different things, and I'll explain that further in the video. But the main thing I want to start talking about is the glossary, or kind of the words that you'll hear a lot, maybe in the Discord, and I'm going to try and break those down in just common language, because being a hillbilly, common language works better for me, so I'm going to do that the best I can. Of course, the first thing is the peg token. A peg token means that the goal of the protocol and us as users is to keep the token's price closely right above the chosen token we are pegged to. In this case, it is Joe. Then it uses share token. The share token is common throughout all ToonForks. This is the reward token for the protocol. It is used in every LP as the reward and is often the volatile coin with heavy price movement due to less circulating coins. So I'll explain that a little bit further in the video as well. But just know that those are the two main coins, is peg and share. And then there's also the bonding one, which is the third coin, and that's kind of how the entire structure is. It uses those 3 coins to constantly move, inflate, and deflate the price of the peg token to get it as close as possible. Then you also have LP, which it means liquidity provider. And pretty much what you're doing is using an auto market maker when you're in DeFi. And the way that the auto market maker works is by using liquidity provided by users that use the platform. And in turn, you get some of those fees put back to you. So like if you ever go into SnowyOwl and you go into farms and you see anywhere in here that says add liquidity. So if we click add liquidity on Snow and Joe, you're going to see that it's adding Snow and Joe in a 1-to-1 ratio. And that means that we're giving liquidity to Trader Joe to be able to use those 2 coins to trade simultaneously, to buy and sell. When other people buy and sell, they're buying and selling into our liquidity that we've provided, which we have 987,000. So that's kind of the dynamic, and that's why you'll also see impermanent loss is being talked about a lot, which I'm not going to cover here. And then you're also going to see the fees collected. That's all part of it, and that's how auto market makers work. So that's kind of what LP is, and whenever you do an LP, you'll get, for Trader Joe, it's JLP, which is Joe Liquidity Provider. And those are separate tokens that contain your tokens inside of it. It sounds a little bit complicated, but really you're just given a 1-to-1 ratio, and in turn, you get those coins, and then you're able to use them in other DeFi platforms such as SnowyOwl. So that's kind of what a LP is. And then on top of that, like I said, you can use those liquidity provider coins and different things like farms. So that's where we actually put most of our SnowyOwl stuff. So if you go here to farm, you can approve it and then add those JLPs that you've just made, and that's how you start farming. And of course, your daily APR is given this. So it's pretty much our platform paying you to give us liquidity. It's on top of it, and it's going to give you that reward token. And that's the start of how these Tomb Forks work. And then, of course, the third thing is boardroom. You'll see a lot about the boardroom. All boardroom is, it has a bunch of different names and a bunch of Tomb Forks. It's single stake share tokens. And every epoch, you're going to see it print the peg token. And what the boardroom does is it is constantly inflating the price based on this metric here, the TWAP. And it's going to inflate the price based on this and a couple other ones, but the main majority is based on this TWAP, based on how high it is above 1.01. Currently, we're at 1.7x of Joe, our peg token. So you're going to add your single stake here. You're going to get your peg token here. And again, this happens every 6 hours, and it pays you right after the epoch ends. As long as it's above 1.01, after every 6 hours, this will pay you and will keep inflating. The only time you won't see that is if the epoch ends and the TWAP, which is time-weighted average price, is below 1.01. And that's because we've now went under the peg. And that's important because this isn't going to inflate the price anymore. So before, we want to inflate to keep the sell pressure onto the peg token to get it closer to Joe. But as we go under, then the protocol is going to say, hey, look, we've inflated the coin enough. There's enough in circulation. We're clearly under the TWAP, which is actually healthy in most cases. You're going to see that the peg falls short eventually. And I'm sure we'll be no different here at SnowyOwl. But that's why it stops printing. And at that point, the incentive is to take out your snow share, sacrifice it, and buy that peg token. So that's one of many dynamics that an educated investor sees. And if I have more people that are educated in that area that say, hey, look, we're under, I'm going to take this stuff out of the boardroom and I'm going to start selling it for snow to try and drive the price back up so that our boardroom keeps printing as it has for 64 epochs. So you'll see a lot of times that you'll see people in Discord talking about, why is there so much in the boardroom? Why is there people still staked if we're under the TWAP? And I think that's due to education and maybe laziness. The main thing I say about Tomb Forks is that this takes active investing. This is not something you put in and you look back in a year. You have emission rates that end very fast. Everything has to be looked at every day. If you're not doing it every day, you're going to fall behind. There's going to be some new development, some large price swing that's going to end up screwing you. So I have to say, make sure you're actively looking if you're going to invest in a Tomb Fork. And again, I touched over epoch, very complicated word and means absolutely nothing other than every 6 hours. If anyone tells you any different, then they're just trying to sound smart. And again, I touched on TWAP. This is an average price of the peg token over an average amount of time. 1.01 is the goal, and that is what is needed for the boardroom to print. So again, to kind of recap, I made a quick note that I'm just going to read off. To keep it as simple as possible, when the peg token is above the price of the gold token, the protocol is designed to inflate that token in circulation, causing an influx of sell pressure, bringing the price down. It does this by an indicator called the TWAP, right here, and through the APR. The higher above peg we are in the boardroom, then it will pay out larger quantities of the peg token to try and increase that, inflate supply. And so to touch on that, I'm going to also show you everything you need to know about these Tomb Forks off the homepage. You have a lot of metrics getting thrown at you all at once, and I'm going to break down the most important to kind of try and find value in these plays. If you're not even looking at SnowyOwl, if you're looking at another protocol, I want to show you how to look at kind of the value. Of course, you're going to see the snow share. Okay, let me start over. Let me start with just snow. Again, that's our peg token. If you look here, it'll show our current market cap based on the price that we're currently at. It's here. So you're going to see that is our market cap right now with the token price and circulating supply. Now, what is circulating supply? So there's emissions for every tune fork. There's a schedule. For 2Ohm, it's 3 months. For SnowyOwl, it's 1 month. And every one of them have different emission rates. And that's something you need to take into account. Don't jump into a tune fork without kind of learning these things. The emission schedule to kind of show you where the circulating supply is. And then also, I'm going to show you how to do it. But look how much is LP'd. Look how much liquidity is provided, how many people are actually actively investing in this, because that's important. And I'm going to show you why SnowyOwl is so healthy. And then you can base it off kind of the other forks that may be down to see if there's any value, any potential that you can invest in. So the total supply is here, the circulating supply is here. So SnowShare, again, share tokens are the ones that you'll see go up to like 10 grand. You'll see that in 3Ohm with 3Share. And the reason that is because 3Ohm has a different emission schedule. It's much slower. And what happens is whenever a tune fork starts, say a Genesis pool, whatever it is, there is absolutely 0 coins in circulation. And that's how it's designed. It's designed so that you have to farm with liquidity to get these tokens minted. And it does that so that there is no starting price. It usually starts very high because people are already trying to buy in. And that's why you'll also see all tune fork charts have drastic declines in prices because people are just dumping them. New liquidity is being added. The price is starting to come down as there's 1-to-1 ratio and things come back down to real life. But the reason you see SnowShare shoot back up or any of these share tokens shoot back up is because the circulating supply is built a little bit different here. Now, the reward token for most of the pools is always the share token. And you'll put the share token in the BR to get the peg token. But the circulating supply, you'll see here, just as an example, we have 26,000 total printed SnowShares farmed. So if we go to a couple different things, if we look at SnowShare, we're going to look at right now, the pooled SnowShare tokens here is 3,500. So that's how much is provided as liquidity in those pools with Joe. And then we go back to the homepage and we look at the boardroom, the boardroom, we're going to see that there is 19,319. So if you add those two together, right, if you add that 3,500 with the 19, that's going to put you at 22,500. Now let's go back to that circulating supply. The circulating supply is now at 26. So we only have 4,000 tokens being traded. Again, most of the SnowShare or any share token is put in the boardroom. It's not really needed to put in liquidity, so there's already price volatility there. Not to mention most of it is locked up, 75% usually in the boardroom, and the other 25% is going to be in the liquidity pool. Because again, peg token is the one that people want in the liquidity pools, so you'll see that a lot of times. But there's such a strain on the amount of circulating supply that it blows up in price. So that's why you'll see these large influx in prices with the share tokens, and of course the bank runs shortly after. But that's the potential of those share tokens, and that's how it's designed. Because you're supposed to be selling your share token through rewards, and that's what you use when we say take 10% profit, take 20% profit. It's out of your share tokens, not your snow tokens. The snow tokens that you get are supposed to be provided back for liquidity, and that's really how it works, and that's the trifecta that you'll see in all the tune forks. Where many fail is with the Genesis pool and things like that. And again, I'm going to do an Ask Me Anything to kind of talk about our Genesis pool and the differences and kind of the pros and cons I see of this Genesis pool different than the other ones. But this is more of a general theme of all tune forks and kind of how they work. And again, it's really not as complicated as it looks. It really just use bare minimum. If a peg token is above, then the boardroom is going to keep printing, and it's going to print higher based on how high above peg we are. And that is to inflate the amount of circulating supply of snow to drive down or drive up sell pressure to bring it closer. And that is what the protocol is designed to do. Right now, Snowy does an amazing job at staying like 1.5 to 2x, which is beautiful. But most eventually come down. And what happens when it does come down? What is the protocol doing to try and adjust to bring it back up above? So the main thing you can see there is the bonds. And again, I don't want to talk too much about the bonds and how they redeem, because the math is a little bit, it's difficult for me to understand fully, so I don't want to speak on it and sound stupid. But the bond token, pretty much, whenever we are under every epoch, then it is giving you a certain amount of bonds to redeem. You can trade in your SNOW token, the PEG token, that is now at too many. We have too many in circulation. That's why we're under TWAP. And it's going to give you a 1-to-1 ratio of SNOW bond. Say it's 3,000. Well, that's gone. Your SNOW is gone until we hit above PEG. So it also gives you the extra incentive that you're trying to also add back liquidity and get our SNOW share back up above PEG so that you can redeem those bonds. Now, depending on where the TWAP is, if it's 1.01, you'll be able to redeem that bond for a 1-to-1 ratio. But there is also a multiplier effect if we go above 1.1, 1.2. There's a multiplier effect where you'll get more SNOW. And again, that's another way for it to bring the price back down closer to earth and 1-to-1 with Joe. So hopefully I explained everything well. I didn't want this video to drag on, kind of my first one, so I'm sure I'm just blabbering. But I wanted to get this out for the SnowyOwl community because you guys have been so great for me. And I want to start doing some more of these. So once I post this up, if you guys see anything that I should be detailing a little more accurately, then let me know and I'll make another video. And I'll keep doing them. I love doing it, and I love educating people. And I think the best thing for a tune fork and what makes them fall apart is uneducated. Of course, there's bad actors, but uneducated investors not knowing how to fight for the protocol to keep it printing. And of course, SNOW has been printing at 7 to 10% since its inception 10 days ago. And I want to attest that some to the community, but also I think that being pegged to Joe really helped it. So that's kind of what I wanted to speak on. If you're new to tune forks, you've never invested in one, hopefully this video helps you. I'm going to put a link to the Discord for SnowyOwl. If you have any other questions, I'm always available. I always take direct messages. I always want to help. So please, definitely reach out to me. And I'm going to do the best I can to keep educating everybody here, because I think for us to get layer 1 and layer 2 in sync and constantly working together, then I'm going to have to post more of these videos. So hopefully that helped everybody. I didn't make myself look like a fool on here. So thank you if you listened.